Good afternoon, BGD family. It's your host, Jamie Taylor, CEO of the Black Golf Directory. For those who haven't already been watching us over the last week plus for this third annual virtual career fair, I'm excited to bring our next company today, the LPGA, better known as the Ladies Professional Golf Association. And also, this company is very near and dear to my heart because I'm a former employee of the LPGA as well as a current member of the LPGA professionals. So I'm glad for everybody who's joining in, and I'm excited for you all to learn about this company, what they do, and what opportunities they have to offer. I actually have three guests today, so this is a bono because this is the most guests we've had on a call. So they're going to represent all the different pillars of the company and talk to you about what they do and, again, what they have as far as internships and employment opportunities. So without further ado, for those who are joining in, I'm going to bring them on. And remember, if at any time you have to leave the interview or if you just want to watch this again, you can register for free at blackgolfdirectory.com to get the full recording for this interview as well as all the interviews that we've done so far and future interviews. So with that, I'm going to bring on our guest. All right, welcome Team LPGA. I'm excited to have all of you with me, and I'm going to have each of you introduce yourselves, and I'll start with Dion, who is part of their HR team. So Dion, can you tell the audience who you are and what you do with LPGA?
Sure. Thanks, Jamie. Great introduction. We're really proud to be a part of this group. So thanks for the time being here today. My name is Dion Davis. I am the Talent Acquisition Manager for the LPGA. So I kind of have one of the best jobs. I get to know all of our team members and learn about the interns that are coming in and watch you all grow and watch our team make the game of golf even better and more inclusive and accessible.
I can take it from there. Thanks so much for having us, Jamie. And hello, everybody. I am Laura Diaz. I've been with the organization for about 3.5 years now. And I've loved every minute of it. I've moved around a little bit. It started my first 3 years or so with the LPGA Foundation on the charitable arm. And then now I've moved over as Senior Director of Community and Inclusion. And I like to keep my my what I do in sort of one word. I call myself a connector, and it's a new role, and I'm hoping to really spread the word out about the LPGA so that other organizations, youth programs, and just people in general can really be part and see themselves at the LPGA. So excited about the new opportunity.
And I am Kayla. I work Tournament Business Affairs for the LPGA, which in my role, I am a liaison between the people who put on the tournament. So those are different bigger companies, sometimes smaller companies, and then the LPGA. And so my department really deals with making sure the tour runs smoothly and then making sure we have a certain amount of dates and we have a great geographic flow within our tournament schedule.
All right, thank you for those introductions, ladies, and apologies for my disappearance. I'm having a little Wi-Fi trouble, but all that being said, if you all could, let's go back to Dion and have her talk about specifically the organization, who you all are, and what the different pillars of the LPGA are.
There, now you can hear me. Yeah, great. So the LPGA is really well-founded and entrenched in our core values. We were established in 1950. We've grown into a global organization with offices in Asia and Europe. And along the way, we've really remained committed to our core values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. These values go back to our founders, women who were passionate about playing the game of golf and refused to let anyone tell them that they couldn't compete. Now, as an organization, we ensure that each step we take forward is intended to make the game of golf more accessible and inclusive. And a part of that is our culture. We know that engaging diverse talent and providing opportunities for individual growth in a collaborative environment make a real impact for our team. We're not just on the golf course. Our team members have a broad range of expertise. In our headquarters in Daytona Beach, we have all of those traditional roles. We have marketing and public relations, digital media, IT, tournament operations, tournament business affairs. All of these different groups are really working together to make sure we establish the partnerships that we need to continue to grow the game. The sponsors that are helping us raise that purse so that the women who are playing this game are getting that equity. And we've got a long way to go. We realize that. But that's what this team is working for and really moving forward at.
Great introduction and good overview of the organization. I know you, again, I mentioned you all represent each pillar of the LPGA as far as you've worked in each division. So I would like to give Kayla first a chance to talk about the tour side and a little bit about what you all do in regards to running your section of the organization.
So on the tour side, we have different events. So we have owned events, and then we have events that we don't own. So own events, we run everything. So we're in charge of being the boots on the ground. We're in charge of sponsorship. We're in charge of just making sure everything runs smoothly. Just literally everything from food and beverage to ticketing, and everything you think of in between. For our other events, we work with different companies that put on the events. So they do more of the on the ground things that need to be done, whereas we work more as the liaison between them, the LPGA, and a lot of the title sponsors to make sure everybody's happy and make sure that we are having the best tournament possible. We also work with one of my bosses. She actually works to make the tournament schedule. So she sits there every day, looks at this giant spreadsheet and tries to figure out how we're going to have the best tournament schedule for our athletes, for our staff, and for our fans. So that's kind of what my department does. So.
Well, that sounds like a lot, and I know it is a lot because it's something that it's basically the bread and butter in a lot of ways of the organization. So, Laura, if you could speak to, I know that you're kind of in your new role, but could you speak to the foundation and what that sector of the organization does?
Sure. So within the foundation, there are three main areas, right? And I like to call the LPGA Foundation the charitable arm of the LPGA, right? And so it's three different buckets. So we have LPGA USGA Girls Golf, which is our flagship junior golf program, where we have close to 520 sites across the U.S. and international locations. And this program is really an introduction to the game for girls ages 7 to 17, right? We say that fun is queen at LPGA, USGA Girls Golf, because we really want to make sure that when the girls come to our events, they're hooked, right? They want to keep coming back. And we know that many girls, perhaps they're not going to be LPGA Tour players, but we just want to make sure that they're lifelong golfers. And the way we do that is through our female role models, right? Teaching professionals like Jamie and, the network of other, close to 1,900 LPGA teaching professionals around the US and the globe that really work super hard and very creatively to get these girls engaged in their programs. And we have our second bucket is our Leadership Academy. So these events are 2-day experiences for young girls ages 13 to 17. And it's really about teaching leadership through the game of golf. We know that the teenage years can be hard for young girls. So we want to create a space and an atmosphere for them where they can use the game of golf to really succeed in life. So we put those programs together, kind of like Kayla was talking about. We own that event. So we put it together, fully. We staff it. We do all the FMB, which is a really cool sort of event management so that you can gain those skills. If anybody's looking for that type of career, the foundations are usually a really good place to start. And then the third piece that the foundation manages is anything having to do with financial assistance and scholarships, right? We have close to this year, it's going to be a groundbreaking year. We have close to $135,000 that we're awarding in scholarships. So it's really awesome that we're able to provide and maybe ease the burden for some young women to kind of go through their college education. So we're really excited about that piece. And then we have different grants that we award internally for girls golf sites so they can support buy equipment, transportation, and keep it affordable for the girls to play golf. And then we have also internal grants for our LPGA teaching professionals to make sure that we can, aid in as they go through their certification process, because we know that financial burden can also be difficult. So it's a really fun place to work on the foundation side. I know I work with Jamie closely for a few years, and we still do. So we like to say that we're definitely the fun part of the tour.
I can definitely attest to that. I had some great times. I've traveled to some amazing facilities in the country and outside of the country. So it's a pretty cool gig. And I mean, I'm sure the tour is just as fun. I just didn't get to see that side of things as much. But I will say that, giving back to the youth and also growing the game with women and girls is a very important part of my life. So I think that's the best part about the LPGA Foundation. So Dion, if you could share with our viewers about your internship opportunities and kind of when do they begin, when's the application process start, and how long do they last, and things of that nature, that'd be great.
Absolutely. So our internships for 2023 are going to be the summer internship programs. They're going to run from June to August in 2023. And in all departments, for the most part, we're going to have the availability for interns in communications, finance, strategic partnerships, HR, marketing, all of those different realms. Now, these positions don't travel. They're going to be full-time in our Daytona Beach headquarters office. There is one or two internships that are going to travel. Those would be within tournament business affairs and tournament operations. And those two may have extensive travel because you're going out and learning how those tournaments are run. You're going to be following Kayla around and learning what her position's all about. These positions are paid. $15 an hour is the typical incoming salary for interns, and we try to make sure we're competitive with that. We're constantly checking the national averages and that sort of thing, because you're spending a lot of time working here, and we want to make sure that it is enriching both professionally and you're able to go out for dinner every now and then as well. The candidates that we look for need to be currently enrolled. You're going to be a junior or above. Proficient as you all are in the Microsoft suite. We know that that's something that most everybody already has. When you're here in our Daytona Beach office on an internship, it is your own responsibility to manage your transportation and housing, that sort of thing. Again, you're pretty much adults at this point, so you already know how to manage that. But of course, we'll give you advice and recommendations to help you through that. Interns are typically really motivated. They're going to be someone who's coming in to learn. Most likely you've got a golf background or a sports background. You're really looking forward to see how you can grow in that type of a realm. And problem solvers, people who are going to come in and really look for ways that they can make an impact in that internship, and maybe looking towards long-term positions with the LPGA as well. We do have a hybrid work schedule in our offices. Those are typically 2 to 3 days in the office. The other days are remote. Again, those travel positions are going to be pretty much remote the whole time. And to apply, we already have that open and ready right now on the LPGA Careers website. So you can go in there, put your application in, and the position is 2023 summer internships. So you can just go online and apply via that website.
All right, thank you. That was very thorough. Thank you for all that information. So I've had the pleasure of having some great interns. In fact, one of them is actually watching us now, Daniela Vanda, who was there when I was there. And so I would love to, Laura, since I know you've been there and had some interns along the way, talk a little bit about some of the interns that you've had there in regards to what made them a great intern, and so that people get a sense of what you're looking for.
Sure. No, we really had some really fun interns come through us through the foundation. And hi, Daniela. I mean, I think the biggest thing for the application, if we start there, is just really doing a little bit of research and actually knowing what you're what you're interviewing for, right? And knowing sort of that mission and vision behind not only the organization but the specific department, right? If you have a connection to somebody that perhaps works there, or perhaps somebody that works in golf, or even in the sports league space, maybe talk to them beforehand on that application, as you go through the process of application. But once you're in the internship, I think it's really important to get acclimated and really set your expectations with your supervisor, right? Like, if you know you're going to be in a department where your supervisor travels a lot, well, then maybe establish a communication point every week, or maybe a couple times a week, so that you know what is needed to be accomplished, right, for you to be successful. I think that's really important, because sometimes you can get into a department where there's a lot going on. If you're going to come in the summer, we are sort of all systems go during the summertime at the LPGA. So I just think it's really important to set those expectations ahead of time within your department, and get to meet everybody in the company. Like, set up lunches with people, walk around people's cubicles, hit them up on the Teams chat. I still do that, as much as I can when I'm walking around the office. Try to connect with people, and even if they're new, try to welcome them. So I think as an intern, it's really important to make those relationships. And we talked about this a little bit earlier this week, that everything is about relationships, and those relationships that you form. So really make the most of it while you're there. And this is just from my perspective. Really, perhaps in that role, try to sort of ease the burden of your supervisor or your department. Really raise your hand for, even if you're not familiar, perhaps raise your hand for something that may be a little bit out of your comfort zone or a little bit harder, but give it a try, because I think that'll really sort of say, oh, this person's really wanting to learn and they're really engaged. So that's what I would say, but I would definitely throw it to my colleagues if anybody wants to add anything.
I would say in an intern, what we're really looking for from my perspective is someone who is really about relationships, someone who understands that everyone has a story, that there was something going on at home, and there's going to be something going on at home after work. Someone with compassion and empathy. I think that is so important, and that's going to get you so far. So relationships are everything. I have jobs that I've gotten strictly from relationships that were great experiences, and they're the only reason that I'm here today. So start building relationships now, even with the people that are in your community, because you never know who is going to be able to offer you a job. You never know who will be able to help you out when you're in a hardship or something like that. So start now and just keep building.
That's some really great advice, and I agree. The relationship part is huge, because that's partly why I'm here talking to you all today. Just even being a former employee, just being able to maintain good relationships helps benefit, and even after you've left the company. And so that's a very key factor. And I like what you said, Laura, in regards to raising your hand to do things. I think the best interns that I've experienced, including Daniela, are those that worked outside of not just our department, but were willing to do things in other departments when they didn't have as much to do. And they, like you said, built relationships, Kayla, with those other departments, so that if opportunities presented themselves post the internship, then they were going to be looked at as a viable candidate for some other opportunities. So with that, Dion, if you could help people understand, what are some ways, besides just going to LPGA's website, that you find candidates? Because I think people assume that's the only way, but what are some other ways that you may be looking for candidates?
We are working to source candidates from a wide variety of locations. You'll find our ads on Indeed. We post them on LinkedIn. Those are standard places that you would look for positions. However, we are reaching out to our local communities. We're going to the colleges, those college boards for those entry-level positions. We're also looking at different professional organizations. If we're looking for an accountant, we're going to go reach out to, the AICPA or the Florida, AICPA arm. We're also talking to our individuals that we work with. Do you know someone, like Kayla said, those are those relationships you're building. Do you know somebody that you've worked with in the past, a friend of a friend? I think that when you think about talent acquisition or people coming into the LPGA, we're constantly looking. We're seeking out those different professional affiliations. This great group, Black Golf, we want to be out there with you, making sure that our voice is kind of being heard everywhere. So anybody who has recommendations, maybe we haven't reached out to your group or let us know, because we want to get our hands in there and find the best candidates we can.
Thanks for that. And so I do have a question from the audience, and I'm going to take it back to you, Dion, and others can chime in. But that question asks, will there be any positions opening soon in the foundation side, for entry level? And you can speak to that for actually any of the departments. Are there anything available coming up now, full time?
Great. We do have about 9 positions open right now. They are in all different groups: digital media, communications, IT, marketing, tournament operations. All of those types of positions are open now and available. We also do have more coming up towards the end of the year. So those are going to be positions that, we encourage you or someone that might have a really good background to apply for as well. The internship positions are going to be available, and maybe Laura could speak to this a little bit more. If we find a great intern and they're going to be a good match for foundation, we'd love to bring them in as well. So we do have a lot of great positions and a lot of departments open right now.
We have another question from the audience in regards to the full-time employment, and this again is for you, Dion. Do you all consider with H-1B, which is the international students, so you have ability to sponsor any of the international students if they want to apply for entry-level positions?
We are currently not sponsoring employees at this time. As long as you are eligible to work in the U.S., then yes, we are open to hire.
Now, just for clarification, I know you've in the past, we've had international students on the intern side. So is that also not available at the moment, or is that available?
If they are students over here currently and, they have that eligibility, then yes, we can hire them as interns. Thanks for clarifying.
No problem. So now I want to ask you all, now that we talked about how to apply, and actually before I go there, let me talk about some no-nos. So, and you all can all speak to this. Are there any, I say no-nos or things that you can caution people on in regards to, how to avoid not getting an opportunity? I know we've had grammar brought up, people, not, as Laura mentioned, not knowing the organization that they're applying for or using the same type of, cover letter and not updating it for the company that they're applying for. But can you speak to any other things that you just caution people on, or specifics, maybe experiences you've had where you're like, this is what cost the person the opportunity?
Well, I'll jump in on that, and I'm sure Laura and Kayla can both chime in afterwards. It's coming in with the attitude of being a part of the group. That's a positive. What you don't want is someone who comes into the interview or the team's interview that we may do with the attitude that you're lucky to have me. I'll be there when I can be there, that sort of thing. So never come in thinking that I've got this in the bag. You're selling yourself just as much as we want to sell the LPGA to you. Also, really listen. When someone's asking you a question, be present in that moment so that you can be genuine in your answers. And a big no-no is to not let yourself be nervous or stressed. And I know that's tough, but understand we're here to bring you in and help you grow and thrive. So when we're asking certain questions, they're not necessarily gotcha type of questions. They're those questions to get to know you better. So try to take away some of that nervousness when you're in the call.
I mean, I'll just add that timeliness is important. Making sure that if the meeting was scheduled for a certain time, that you maybe log on a minute or two early, and that you're there on time. Because I know for a lot of people like Dion, they have a lot going on. They probably have a lot of back-to-back interviews. So making sure that we're respectful of people's time is what I would add. And decorum, I mean, I think for me, it's important the way that we present ourselves, even if it's in an online setting. I think it's still important to dress appropriately, the grooming part, I definitely think that that's huge, the way that we present ourselves. First impressions, right, do matter.
I think also it's coming in with an open heart and open mind. If you come in really closed-minded with a closed heart, it's going to be very hard, because we do a lot of very difficult work, and it's very rewarding, but some of it is some soul searching, and you are learning new things. So if you are not open to learning new things and seeing different perspectives and different ideas, it's going to be very hard to work with you or someone like that.
Great advice. And I love that we have 3 people to give different perspectives, because I think that's a key thing that people need to know. Oftentimes, like, why didn't I get the job? Just knowing those basics is really helpful. So let's get to some fun things. Let's talk about the perks. Just from your personal experience, because maybe a combination, and please share with the audience if you are a golfer or a non-golfer. That way people know. But what are some of the perks that you've seen or received, or I should say benefited from, since working for the LPGA?
I could hop in on this one. So some of the perks, I'm learning how to golf. I do not come from the golf world at all. This is completely new. And I'm really excited because I know golfing is a great way to network with people from different industries. So I'm really learning that at a young age, which I'm really excited about. I also think that some of our personal development, that's something I haven't seen in other companies. And I really, really love it. And I feel like I'm gonna be in the LPGA, and I'm gonna grow in the LPGA, which is something I haven't felt before. So I'm really excited to be here and to work with the LPGA.
Yeah, I personally, I am a golfer. I come from a golf background, but definitely not, not a deal breaker from our standpoint. I mean, I think from my perspective, more of a seasoned employee, I do really appreciate the culture that's created for fostering creativity and more of a sense of freedom in regard to the work that's being done, right? If you have an idea, you can go ahead and present it right to your supervisor, and you can kind of move forward with that idea, right? As long as it's within the vision and mission of the organization. And that's how new departments get formed, right? Like, we've had singular people just have these wonderful ideas about the LPGA, and now we see women's network, right? Now we see our DEI initiative. So I really like that part of the LPGA, that it's kind of more of that letting people be creative and letting people really do their work, which is important. It's a lot of fun. I think the hybrid schedule, and really the global human resources department and the operations team really working with everybody through the pandemic, right? And trying to fit in with the situations that people had, whether it's, children, whether, families that they had to attend to. So I really appreciate the sort of pivoting and shifting of the culture to a more hybrid workspace, and of course, keeping the fact that we can go in the building. Like, I was in the building earlier this week, today I'm home. So, that the flexibility part, I think, is important, and really kind of being that forward thinking and knowing and trying to meet the needs of your employees.
Well, I am not a golfer. I am also really uncoordinated, but they don't make fun of me. They let me in. The perks for me, we've already alluded to this. It's a very collaborative type of environment. And I use one of the old cliche words of open door environment. You don't walk around and see doors closed. You see people walking into randomly into the offices of leadership team members. You see those very casual conversations happening throughout the day with one another. So it's really nice to feel like you can go chat with anyone, from the commissioner if she's not booked back to back, to the head of tournament operations and that sort of thing. I love that. The other key word that Laura's already used is fun. It is busy. We're all busy. We're working, right? But it's fun. We have a ping pong table in the lobby of our building. So, I sit up close to that, and every now and then around 3 or 4 o'clock, I hear that tink tink of the ping pong ball going back and forth. So there's time in the day, let your brain rest and enjoy your team members.
So I'm super jealous about the ping pong table because it was not there when I was there. And just so you all know, I have a trophy for ping pong from childhood. So I would have been definitely enjoying that every day after work or during work. But you're right. It's very collaborative there. And I would say the other perk, but also don't assume this. We have all women on this call. However, men do work at the LPGA. Men are welcome at the LPGA, but as a woman, it is a very woman-friendly environment, and I think that's very different from other organizations in the golf industry, especially because golf is a very heavily male-dominated sport. But obviously, at the LPGA, you have a lot more women that are in leadership roles, and also it's just a very, like I said, it's just a woman-friendly environment. So I think that's another perk that I think is something that people can look to. And then, like I said, men are very welcome and are a big part of the team as well. So I'm going to kind of wrap things up a little bit unless we get any questions from the audience. And I would love to hear from each of you if someone is considering either working or interning at the LPGA. Why do you think they should consider it, and or we talked about perks, but really, what do you think is the draw for them to come to your organization versus some of the others, if you will? So I can start with Dion and then work our way around.
From my perspective, when you're in a golf atmosphere, there's a lot of coaching that goes around. Just some of the core elements of the game of golf: integrity, ethics, doing your part, being the best you individually can. Those are things that are really infused in everything we do. So you want to come work for the LPGA because you're going to come in with certain skill sets we know you have, but you've also been selected because we want to see your growth. So you're going to come in and learn from others. You're going to see that you do have steps to success, and we want you to be successful. So you're going to have those opportunities.
I think for me, what finally helped make the decision to come to the LPGA was the people. It was the people who genuinely cared about me, my success, and my growth. You don't see that in every company that you go to. Sometimes you're just a number in a company. But in this company, I'm Kayla. And everyone on the call knows who Kayla is and what Kayla does and how Kayla is today. And I think that's very important. For me, my priorities lie with relationships, with family, with friends. And I know within this organization, I'm going to grow all of these things. And so that is what really, really attracted me to the LPGA originally. And I don't come from a golf background. I come from motorsports. So it was a huge adjustment for me. So it was the people, for sure.
Well, I don't know how I can follow that, because I feel like Kayla just dropped the mic. But, I will say that the LPGA has always been an organization, right, enriched in our values and our history, right? We're the longest standing women's sports organization, and I think we're continuing to grow. We're continuing to see the investment of more companies within the LPGA. This year, we've had a historic $9 million, combined purse for all of our events. we saw the US Open grow to 10 million, and that's just going to keep growing. So I just tell, if you want to be part of an organization who sees the future of women's sports as the future of sports, I would say come work to the LPGA. We have amazing athletes. They have tremendous stories, and it's just so fun to be a part of that.
Great job, everyone. You all dropped the mic as far as I'm concerned. So if we could wrap things up, and Dion, if you could just remind the audience how they can apply for these positions, where they should go, when the dates are for the upcoming applications, or at least the time frame for applications for internships, and anything else you feel they should know before we wrap up.
Great. So you can go to lpga.com, scroll down to the bottom of that page and click on careers. That's where you're going to be able to search for positions and apply directly. You can also email me. I know it's not up on the screen, but I'll be happy to share that with Jamie if you need my email address. I don't mind giving that out to everybody because we want the best talent. So whether you come to me via LinkedIn or LPGA careers page or email, I'm excited to hear from all of you. Again, the internships run June to August in the summer internship program. We'd like to see applications now. We love pre-planning. Kayla said she's got her boss who has that big schedule up on the screen. We are looking ahead already, so you can begin applying now. I would recommend try to have that application in no later than January, because we're going to be scheduling people, especially if you're traveling. We're going to make sure we know that you're going to be out there and who you're going to be with. Did that answer all the questions?
Yes, you did a great job. And so just as a reminder, everyone who's just joined in, if you did not catch this whole interview, I'll have the full recorded interview sent out via email later today, as well as Dion's contact information and the lpga.com website to go and apply for positions there. And I'll be sending reminders for their upcoming deadlines. And so with that, go ahead and visit the blackgolfdirectory.com website for that. Thank you all, ladies, for your great information and insight. I think this is a great interview. And I look forward to seeing everybody later today at 5:30 p.m. We have a Cushnet company, which is Titleist FootJoy, and talking about the opportunity. So we'll see everyone later this evening. Bye.
Thanks for having us.